Wi-Fi Sheep would like to say a huge thank you to all of you that kindly support us. Help us continue to bring new videos like this. Join patreon.com/Wi-Fi Sheep from just $1 a month. Hello and a warm welcome back to youtube.com/Wi-Fi Sheep with me, Tom. In today's video, we're continuing our look at Raspberry Pi alternative single board computers, or SBCs. It kind of escapes your attention that supply and availability of Raspberry Pi has all but dried up of late, and although better stock availability is promised, it's still some way off. Product prices have gone up, and some products will not be available, such as the Raspberry Pi Zero 2. Naturally, this creates demand, and luckily alternative manufacturers have stepped in, such as Banana Pi. In a first for Wi-Fi Sheep, the people at Banana Pi got in touch and offered me a free sample board to review here on the channel. Now, Banana Pi are the original Pi alternative manufacturers, and they've been around as long as there have been Pi computers, with their latest offerings even surpassing Raspberry Pi products in hardware features and abilities. So here is the Banana Pi as was sent to me. This is the packaging, and this is a pretty generic box that most Banana Pi products that fit inside this form factor box come in. And as you can see here, it's listed what it is on the front. So it is a BPi-P2 Zero as opposed to the BPi-M2 Zero. So let's have a look inside. And nothing else in there. So we have a static bag, and here is the actual board itself, and it's quite a nice thing. Now, it is an extended version of the Zero form factor. So just to show you, I have here, this is an original Raspberry Pi Zero, or actually second gen Raspberry Pi Zero, and you can see the width is still the same, but obviously it's a lot longer because there's a little bit more going on this board, but it's still a really nice small form factor. Now, the board itself is nicely laid out, and you see we have a full 40 pin header, which should be Raspberry Pi compatible. We've got modules for display. I think it's that camera or display. I forget which one that is now, but just quick underneath as well, SD card, and there is the CAN for the Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. The aerial, I believe, is integrated into the board, so you don't need an external aerial. This module here, now this is optional, and this is the 5-volt power over Ethernet connection. So basically, if you have a network connection, you can plug Cat5 cable, Cat6 cable in here. As long as your network supports it, you can power a device over the Ethernet power, but you do need this module installed, and the board supplied to me does have this module in place. We've got the H3 All-Winner ARM chip. We've got the, I believe one is the RAM, I forget which one is which, but one is 8GB eMMC for onboard flash storage, and one is 512 megabytes of user RAM, but that's upgradable depending on the product. We've got power via mini USB, we've got OTG USB, we've got mini HDMI, and I've already explained about the Cat5 link. We've also got buttons. We've got a serial here. This is TTL serial so it's ground TXRX for debugging, and we do actually have a reset button. So overall, it's quite a powerful, it's quite a nice board, and I'm really looking forward to actually seeing what this can do. So the next thing we need to do is to flash some operating systems. So in order to get hold of some operating system images for our Banana Pi board, we need to head over to banana-pi.org, and here is the homepage, and we're going to go to resources and wiki. And Banana Pi has quite an extensive wiki, and this is what we use to navigate all the help files, the downloads, and anything else that we might need. So the first thing to do is to select the product. So we're going to hit products, and we're going to select which is here, which is the Banana Pi BPi-P2 Zero. And here is the product. And it goes through a couple of introduction functions, so including key features. So the CPU architecture, ours is actually an all-winner H3. It's a quad-core Cortex A7 ARM chip. There's 512 megabytes of DDR3 SRAM or SD-RAM on board. Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, mini HDMI out, 40-pin GPIO. This should be pin compatible with Raspberry Pi. They normally are. We have an onboard LAN and IEE connection, or IEEE connection, sorry. And interestingly of all, and why I picked this board, is that we do have an 8GB eMMC flash. That's right, this board is capable of having an OS like a Linux flash to it without the need for SD card, and that is something we're going to look at in a later video. As I said in the introduction, you can get a similar board. I'll just show you it very quickly here before we head back. This is Banana Pi M2 Zero, and they're one of the very first companies to do a Pi Zero clone board. This is now running with a H2 Plus all-winner chipset. So again, a very powerful, very capable board, and that is fully compatible in the footprint with the Raspberry Pi Zero. So down to resources, source codes, and then we have image releases, and here we have options for the downloads. So options include for Linux, include an Armbian. Interestingly, down here we also have additional Debian and Ubuntu builds, including a version of Raspbian. It's a slightly older version from a couple of years ago, but that's Raspbian as in the Raspberry Pi OS. And we can look at that by going to the Google Drive, and we have Raspbian. Here it is. So we can click and we'll download that. Okay, so we'll give those a minute just to come down. Okay, so here's the two images in zip format, so we'll just uncompress. It's interesting how it actually says, at least on one of them, eMMC. And there we go. So both are just under 8 gig, so we should be able to use an 8 gig SD card, no problem. But just to be safe, I'll use 16 gig cards. So these are micro SD cards. And we'll just mount up. They may mount or mount not new cards, depending if they've been file formatted or not, but that's kind of irrelevant. So I'm going to use Banana Etcher. And we select flash from file. And I'll just select the file I want. So this is the Raspbian that we'll do first. So I say open, select my target, which in this case will be the mass storage device. So we'll say select. And then we'll click to flash. It'll ask for a password if you're on the Mac. And that'll take a few moments, so we'll come back when that's done. Okay, so I've got my two micro SD cards. The one with the label on is the Raspbian port, and this one is the Ubuntu. Let's try the Raspbian port first of all. So we'll put that in the board, putting our SD card in like so. It's just a friction fit, it's not a click fit like some of the micro SD cards were. Now we're going to need a few things to make this work, and to work as a desktop PC, the first thing we're going to need is an adapter for the HDMI. So we need to go full size to mini, just like you would on a Raspberry Pi Zero. We're going to need some sort of USB hub. So I've got this USB hub with a micro USB end, and that goes into the OTG port, and we'll plug keyboard and mouse into that. Network, I can put a Cat5 lead in, and I might do that in a minute. And we'll also need power. I'm going to use a Raspberry Pi 3 5 volt 2 amp power supply, or 2.5 amp I think it is, and that goes in there. So just need to plug HDMI cable into a display. Now this is going to go via a capture card, so you can see on screen. We'll lay that out like that. Just before we boot, and because I probably haven't got Wi-Fi set up already, I certainly won't, I'm going to put a network connector in There we go. Connected up to the router downstairs, so we will be able to feed some sort of internet in. So let's power up and see what happens. And you can see here the board has lit up. So we'll give it just a few moments. So we've got a power LED here, and you probably can't just make that out on camera. We've got the two diodes for the Ethernet network connection are lit up as well. So we'll just give that a few moments. There we go. So we've got a Banana Pi boot screen, and we've got a 4-core Linux kernel, and this is for the port of Raspbian. Relatively quick boot time. You'd expect that for an all-winner H3. And there is a familiar desktop. And there we go. That's all looking really good. And the mouse is working. So obviously, if you're a Raspberry Pi user, you'll be very familiar with Raspbian Linux, and here it is. So we've got a terminal, and that works fine. We've got some programs, got the Python, games, accessories are all in, LibreOffice is installed. We've got programming tools such as Genie IDE, which has kind of become my favourite. There we are. Loads up really quick, really fast, really responsive, as you'd expect. There it is. We've got all the accessories. Let's try the Office. Let's just let's open LibreOffice Writer. Let's just see how fast LibreOffice boots. Yeah, no problem at all. Really, really fast, really responsive, and there it is. There's LibreOffice Suite working, no problem. I wonder if I can call up Python. There's Python 2, which is in the system. And I should be able to call exit. Yeah, that's fine. That's working well. And it's Python 3 on the system. And there's Python 3. So unlike actually the modern Raspbians, you've got Python, Python 2 and Python 3 are actually both present. That's great. Okay, that's fantastic. So as we got the network in, let's take a look at the internet and Chromium web browser. It's not bad. Let's head over to YouTube. Obviously we're not signed in, so we'll just accept. Go full screen. We'll expand the window rather. Bear in mind, this is the first time we've actually logged in. Okay, it's not too bad. It's about what I'd expect. And just see what the video's like full screen. A little bit choppy on the frame rate, but not terrible. What's that running at? Let's have a look. It's doing 720p. So if I came down to, if I went to 360, yeah, that's usable. It is perhaps dropping a frame here or there, but it's not terrible. And yeah. Okay. So yeah, I'd say that's that's quite usable, and YouTube's working relatively well. And of course we've got the file system with most things where you'd expect. There's even a copy of Magpie on here. Let's have a quick look. It's a PDF file. When's that from? June 2018, issue 70. So what we have to remember is that this build of Raspbian is not officially supported by Raspberry Pi in any way, shape or form. It's an unofficial port for the Banana Pi, but it's, you know, it's there, it's the familiar environment, and it has all the tools that you might want if you're thinking of trying to run your Pi project on alternative hardware. So to actually have a version of the operating system that means that hopefully, as I said, maybe 85–90% of stuff should run okay. Okay, so what we'll do now is we're going to swap over the SD cards, and in order to do that we'll take the HDMI adapter up, because the SD card is hiding right underneath where the adapter is. So we're going to pull that one out. That was Raspbian, and we'll try this one, which should be Ubuntu Mate, which is actually used to be a favourite of mine. Ubuntu Mate, it's quite a cool little OS. Basically Ubuntu with the Mate desktop. So pop that back in, and we should be able to power back up. There we go, and we'll cut, and we should see there's BPi bananapi.org booting again. There's the boot screen, and we should see another Linux kernel, this time for Ubuntu. There we go, we do. Booting up as it does in the 4 cores. And again, really quick to boot, actually, surprisingly quick. There we are, done. And we're in. So this is Ubuntu Mate, which we've not featured on the channel in a very long time. And it has applications, places, system tools. Probably not quite as much on this as the stock build as opposed to what we had with the Raspbian build, but there should still be enough on here. So let's open up the Mate terminal. There we go. And I just want to see if there's a Python on board, and there is. There's a Python 2. And we'll exit. And is there Python 3? Not looking promising. Oh no, there is. There it is. Took a minute to get going. There's a Python 3. Ah, okay. Not bad. Okay, so you've got Python on board, which is brilliant. And again, we've got the Chromium web browser, which we already saw previously. Also, you notice you've got this bar down here, which is different to how it works on the Pixel desktop, which it puts everything up here. This basically acts like a menu bar. And again, we could try YouTube. Actually, let's go and have a look at Wi-Fi Sheep. YouTube.com/Wi-Fi Sheep. There we go. Possibly a little bit slower on the OS. Not bad though. About what's expected. And if we just check sound, we can go to sound preferences. Select output as HDMI. So we hit close. There we go. Again, the frame rate's not bad. Again, it's not the most perfect player. What's that playing out in? Let's have a look. Quality. 240p, so quite low res that. But it does play. So again, things like YouTube and stuff is possible. It does work. It does render fine. So yeah, again, impressive considering this is all on a Zero form factor board, which is not an expensive machine. But yeah, so a really great form factor board this, and really like all the features. It's working really, really well. And these boards have come on such a long way in the past 10 years from what they were like with some of these early clones. This isn't really a clone of anything anymore. We've now seen many of the manufacturers, including Banana Pi, have surpassed Raspberry Pi and have gone on to give us boards with more features and more abilities than we currently have with the current Raspberry Pi range. And if you're in the market for a workable Raspberry Pi Zero alternative, then the Banana Pi M2 and P2 Zero really are worth a look. Full product details for the BPi-P2 Zero, as featured in this video, are in the description. And join me next time when we'll explore flashing a Linux OS to the bootable eMMC, and maybe even look at alternative OSs such as the ports of RetroPie for the device. If you haven't done so already, please do consider liking and subscribing, and I'll see you real soon right here on the channel. Until next time, bye for now.